It's gonna be a funny ass story time because I have stretch marks on my booty. They're great. Hey beautiful, welcome to my channel. And if you're new, hi, my name is Alexis Jayda and welcome. And if you guys aren't new and you guys have been FAMBAM for a minute, hello. So this is gonna be a funny ass story time. Well, at the time it wasn't a funny story time, but you guys are some chismosas, eh? Chismosas, because I did a poll not that long ago and I asked you if you guys want a story time. What story time do you guys want? Makeup, my horrible makeup client, one of them, or getting catfish, and you guys were like 1,000 were like, catfish, I want that story. And then I was like, all right, I'll do that. So then I asked you guys, like, what do you guys want tomorrow's video to be? Makeup or the story time? And 649 were like, story time. Like, hurry up, story time. So today's video is gonna be a story time. I feel like I haven't done a story time in a minute, in a freaking minute. So I've been catfished maybe 2-3 times, and I say maybe 2-3 times because I don't want to give the third because I'm like, I knew it was my mom. I just knew. But all right, so this is gonna take it back to why I don't trust females and why I freaking like, it takes me a minute because I feel like us females can be freaking grimy as hell. Oh yeah, we're getting ready for story time, so sit down, have your drink. I got a root beer. No, I got Dr. Pepper. I got Dr. Pepper. Get your Cheetos. Let's chill. Get your friends. And let's get started. And make sure to like these videos, eh? If you like chismosa time, or if you guys like story times, like, make sure to like this video. Anyways, hey, let's go. This is why I have the same speech. This is why I have a hard time like trusting girls and just telling girls anything, because girls are fucking, oh man, oh, it makes me so mad. Okay, so let me take it back, okay? Let me take it back. So this was like my junior high days. I thought I had a good ass friend at the time. I will name her Hubble, because she needs some hubble bubble. So I was so close to this girl, okay? Like, she knew everything. You think when you have like a best friend, you tell her everything, tell her all the cheese, man, like, oh yeah, this and that. My mom be getting on my nerves, this, your insecurities, all that stuff, okay? I would tell this girl everything. Like, she was supposedly my ride or die, okay? Like, to this day, it gets me so mad because this girl was so freaking fake. I wasn't dating or anything because I got a little ass kid, and I was just like, oh my god. Like, my mama had barely even let me like shave my legs, right? Because my mom was strict on that. So I was like barely like, oh, okay. I had my cell phone and everything, and I only had like my best friend and a couple other friends, and that's it. I only had their numbers because I had no business talking to boys, okay? My mom would always tell me stuff like, I had no business, and she would always grab my phone and just go on it and all that and stuff before like my mom went a little bit crazy. So like, I would tell this friend everything, right? I would tell her everything. And at this time, I hadn't even like really like talked to the ex, you know? So I was like fresh, okay? I hadn't talked to the ex or anything like that. I was still being a little like mocosa with like my step cousin and everything, and we were doing like bad stuff, like sneaking out. We had this one place here in Utah, it's called Classic Skating, and it's supposed to be like a skating ring, but like on Friday and Saturdays, it had like a little dance club for like little kids like us, and we'd be like shaking our booty, dancing, twerking, all kinds of stuff. Now when I look back at it, I'm like, that's so crazy. Like, that is so crazy. And my mom had no clue that I was out there. My cousin tried so hard to like show me how to like twerk my booty, and I just couldn't. Like, I just felt so awkward. And I'm not trying to say like, oh, because I was innocent or anything like that. Like, trust me, God knows I was not innocent, but I could not shake my ass in front of like a bunch of other teens, okay? But anyways, so I was like a little more whatever, and I was still doing like bad stuff and everything, so I wasn't no angel, okay? Whatever. So me and my best friend, we were hanging out one day, and she was just like talking to me about this guy. We will name him, nah, because Hazel sounds like a girl name. We'll name him Green Eyes, because I was gonna say Hazel, but anyway, so she would always talk to me about Green Eyes, always, and like, oh, nah, that Green Eyes sounds weird. We'll name him Michael. So she was always talking to me about this guy named Michael, and her mom and Michael's mom were like super close, and she was like goo goo gaga over Michael, and oh my god, he's so handsome, this and that, he's so cute, and da 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 da. And she really liked how he was just like so nice, but he was a little bit older than her. But then he had an older brother, and he was super super cute too. We'll name him Jamie. Okay, so she was talking about Jamie, his older brother. He was only like 1-2 years older, and that he was pretty cool, but he would get on her nerves and this and that. And then she was like, so one of these days, just tell your mom you're sleeping at your cousin's house, you can go to my house, and we can like hang out with Michael and Jamie, blah 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 blah. And my mom won't be so suspicious of us because it's gonna be the 4 of us. Like, it can't just be me and Michael, blah blah blah. We can act like we're studying or something. And so I was like, oh yeah, like I don't know, like maybe, because even though I was like doing bad stuff, like I know if I told my mom like I'm gonna sleep at night at my cousin's house, she would find out. Like she would know. Like she didn't know about us sneaking out, doing all kinds of like, you know, thottiness, all that, but she would know if I wasn't sleeping over there. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't know, like we'll figure it out. And like, and it's so weird because like I don't even know his brother Jamie. Like that's just gonna be really awkward. Like I was super 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 awkward. Like you guys, I had stress sweat all the time. So like I was just like, I don't know like how to act and stuff, because like I know you're gonna want to talk to Michael, and like I don't know what I'm gonna talk to Jamie about. Like he's a little bit older than us, like going like a mile a minute, right? So she was like getting annoyed because I was just like, I could not be that wingman that she wanted, with that wing woman. And I was just like, well, I don't know, like I don't know. So she would still talk to me about him. She's like, I don't know, well, just think about it. Like, just think about it. It's not going to happen for like a couple of days anyways. So I was like, okay, like until the weekend. So then, again, I would tell this girl everything. I would tell her everything, right? So one day when we're at school, she texts me and she like tells me like, hey, tell your mom that you're going to study at my house. Michael and Jamie are going to come over. My mom's cool with it. We can study. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But I can't spend the night. Because like, I was just like, like I can't spend the night. No. Like, I was just awkward. So she was like, okay, yeah, like, yeah, that's fine. Like, we're just gonna hang out very late. Just tell your mom to pick you up. So I text my mom. She's in a good mood. And she's like, yeah, I'll pick you up. Just send me the address. I'm like, oh, okay. And she asks me, like, who's all gonna be there? And I'm just like, oh, just me and her. Blah, blah, blah. That's it. Just me and Hubble. That's it. So she's like, okay. So I'm, like, really nervous. I'm talking to Hubble the whole time. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm just awkward. Like, I don't know what to say. Like boys don't even like me because like I have like a unibrow, and I don't even like I'll show you guys a picture of me, and I was a little cosa. Like, you see, like I had no business doing anything that I was doing. So she was just like, oh no, it's Kay. And my friend, well, best friend, she was like very like developed already, so she already had like everything. She already had the curves, all that. And I was just like, because that's how that's how you should look when you're that age, right? So anyways, we're walking home, we're walking to her house, and the whole time I'm just nervous. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like freaking out, have stress sweat. I'm just like, oh my god, like really, really freaking out. We get there, and they're there, and I was like, no wonder why, like she was just like always talking about Michael. Like he was like really, really handsome. So I was like, oh, hi, like really awkward. And it was like one of those things where they went to go hug her because like though they know her, and I went like that, and like they were just like what are you doing? I felt so freaking weird, and I was just like, oh my god. Like I felt like that guy that like reaches out his hand, or like, can I have a hug type vibe. Like I just felt so weird. So I was like, oh my gosh. Like I just felt really weird, and I felt so ugly, you know, like I felt so ugly. I'm like, oh my god, like these dudes are so pretty, like I'm so freaking ugly, like I'm so ugly. So then eventually Michael and Hubba are talking, getting along all cute, whatever, and it's just me and Jamie, and he like tells me how old he is. I'm like, oh, he's not that much older. We start talking a little bit, so I'm like, oh yeah, like okay, cool. He seemed really cool, really, really nice. I was like smiling, laughing, like ha ha ha. He's like, oh, I like your smile. I'm like, oh, thanks. Like just like really like awkward as hell, like the whole time. Every time I would do something, I would like talk to myself in my head like, you're so stupid. Like I was just really like, oh my gosh. So then my mom started texting me, and she's like, hey, I'm gonna pick you up very soon. I was like, well, you said I could stay, like, well, I was texting her. I was like, you said I could stay later, because I was like, I really want to talk to this Jamie guy. Like that'd be so cool, because like when you're younger, you think like, oh my god, it'd be so cool with my best friend. And like my best friend and I, we have like boyfriends that are like brothers, or like their best friends too. You know, you think of like the dumb shit that like is like, that's like really cool, like you're like goals, and that's like really not goals. So anyways, my mom was like, no, like, I'm gonna go get you right now. Like, why are you acting weird? Like, no, like, stop. Because I'm usually like, okay. Like, I'm not even bugging her. I'm like, okay. Like, okay. Come pick me up. I'm ready. So, I'm thinking I have time. And she's like, come out right now. And I'm like, oh, like, she's already here. Like, my mom did that kind of shit. Where I was just like, like, she would tell me and stuff. Like, oh, I'll be there in 20. And then, like, you know, you try to, like, I don't know, you try to get there in time. Like, she was always trying to catch me because I was like, you know, like, I was a little shit. So I was like, fuck. So then I tell Hubba, I was like, hey, I gotta go. And she's like,
wow, like, you didn't tell her that we're gonna stay till this.
like what? Let me go talk to her. Like, let me go talk to her. And she, like, she had that personality where, like, she thought she could, like, I don't know, like, you know how you have, like, a friend and you're like, God, like, you're not that cool. Like, you can't really bullshit your way. Like, no, like, she was, I don't know. It's just like, oh, let me go see it. Like, if I go ask them, like, she's gonna say yeah, type of thing. So she goes outside. My mom is not even having it. As soon as she comes out, I was like, nope, get your ass in the car now. We're leaving now. And I just start laughing because I'm like, oh, like, you really thought, you know? The boys were gonna walk out and, like, Hubba, like, pushes them, like, no, because I'm gonna get in trouble, you know? She, like, pushes them, and then, like, Jamie, like winks at me, and I'm like, and my mom can't see how, like, you know, I'm just, like, smiling, all stupid pendeja, right? And then my mom's like, what, like, what's so funny? Like, why the hell are you smiling like that? Like, who's inside? And I'm like, oh, no, like, it's just her. Like, she's being stupid. Like, she was, like, making me laugh because, like, you know, she felt dumb. She thought, like, you were gonna let me stay. And I was like, okay. So then we go home, and I'm talking to Hubba, and I'm like, oh my God, girl, like, my mom was, like, so mad, this and that. Like, oh, like, Jamie was so cool. Like, I felt so stupid. She's like, oh my God, he was talking about you, like, nonstop, blah, blah, blah. After you left, like, you're so pretty. I was like, oh my God, like, really? Like, really? She's like, yeah, like, he just kept talking about you, da 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 da. I was like, oh my God, because, like, I felt like I was cute, you know, at the moment. I was like, oh my God. That day, I, like, shaved my arms and stuff. Like, even though we didn't go to the same school, but, like, you know how you just feel like a little, like, oh yeah, like, you think I'm cute type of vibe. Okay, whatever. So she got in trouble for it. So next day, I go to school, me and her talking, things go right, like, you know, things are going same thing. Days pass by, and then one of these days she asked me, like, hey, can I use your phone? My mom took mine away. She's tripping, da da da. I was like, oh yeah, like, it's fine. Like, here's my phone. So she used my phone, and, like, she has it for, like, a couple periods. I'm not tripping because, like, I got no one to text. I only text them, and I don't text my mom. Like, no problem. So I let her use my phone. So then during lunch, me and her talking, and I'm like, you know, like, give me the phone back. She's like, oh yeah, thanks. Like, I was texting Michael and stuff, and just, like, delete his number if he texts us back. Like, just delete it. Don't respond at all. Don't talk to him, like, at all. Blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. So then I get home, just doing kid shit, and I get a call, and it's blocked. And so I'm like, okay. So, like, I'm gonna answer. I'm like, hello, and then it's Michael. And so I'm like, oh, hey, like, what's up? And he was like, hey, is Hubble with you? I was like, no, she's not. Like, I'm home, but I can tell her to call you tomorrow. Like, no problem. Okay. He was like, all right, thanks, Shotty. And I was like, you're welcome. And then I was like, hey, so is Jamie there? And he was like, yeah. Is there a reason? I was like, oh, like, no, like, you know how embarrassing that is? So I was like, no, like, no reason. Okay, bye. So next day at school, I'm talking to her, and I'm, like, telling her and stuff, like, oh yeah, like, Michael called. What did he say? I told you not to answer. I was like, he called me private. That's it. I asked about Jamie, and it was so awkward. And I was, like, telling her, I was like, oh my God, like, it was, like, so awkward. I really thought, like, you know, like, we had a little spark, and he said that he was complimenting me. So, like, was he not? Like, I was, like, second guessing myself. She's like, oh my God, like, you're so annoying. Like, he was. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna have Jamie message you. And I was like, okay, cool. Cause, like, I was just like, oh, okay. So then randomly one night I get a text message. It's like, hey, Jamie, what's up? I was like, oh, hey, what's up? And we just started, like, talking, okay? Like, just talking. We're getting along cool. And, like, we're just, like, talking. And I was like, oh my God, this is so crazy. And it wasn't like, it was just, like, a cool, like, connection. I was like, damn, like, this person's vibe is cool AF, like, super cool. And, like, he, like, you know, texted me more like, good morning, shorty. And I was like, oh, like, hey, like, don't call me that. Like, it was just, I don't know, you know, you get, like, goosebumps and butterflies, and you're just like, oh my god. So then the next day I go to school and I tell Hubble about it, and I was like, yeah, he's doing so cute. And she's like, really? She's like, you see, I told you, like, you're so annoying, you think you're so ugly, you're not. And I was like, yeah, I know. And so then she would be texting Michael, and I'd be texting Jamie, going back and forth, and he'd be like, he said this, oh my god, he said this. And like Jamie would write me like long ass paragraphs, and I'd be like, oh my god, like, he's just so sweet, like, he really just like gets me, you know. So then one day she's like, hey, they're gonna come over again, like, let's go, like, can you go, like, you know, maybe tell your mom like she can pick you up later this time so you guys can connect more. And I was like, oh yeah, like, that'd be a great idea. So like I was telling my mom like, hey, remember I was telling you about this project that I had to do, like, I really want to like pull my grades up, I want to be a better daughter. And so then she's like, okay, Mihan, like, okay, whatever, I'll pick you up at this time. I was like, for sure that time though. And then she's like, yes, for sure that time. So then we go over, they're there, Jamie's acting really nice. I was like, her, and we're just talking. He was just really cool though, like, cool vibes, you know. And I was still kind of awkward because like I feel like I was a good talker on messages, like, you know how you just feel like more confident, like, oh yeah, like, I don't know, have you ever been like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and then like when it comes to like you really ain't about it? Well, that's me. We were just kind of like oh, like being nice, like, haha, like, oh, you're so funny, like, you know, that. And like I noticed like Michael keeps like looking over at me and like just smiling. And it's not just like a smiling like, aha, like joining in on the smile, like I'm laughing because you're laughing with my brother, haha. It's just like that kind of smile, you know. You're just like that, you know. So I do all that. I see Hubble is catching it, and I'm like telling her like, and we had this thing when we were younger. Like, we could just talk with each other's eyes, because that's how cool I was with her. Like, you just talk with your eyes, like that, and you just got it. So I was telling her, my brain, like, you see this guy? What the fuck? Like, you better not miss anything. You know, that kind of thing. They start acting awkward as hell to each other. Michael don't even care. He's still, like, trying to, like, engage in talking to me. And, like, Jamie's just laughing, like, haha, like, nothing. He ain't even catching the vibe. He's probably like, whatever, you know, big brother like vibe, whatever. So I'm like, okay. So then I just tell her like, hey, Hubba, like, I'm just gonna tell my mom to pick me up and stuff, because I'm that person in friendships where it's like I don't ever want to do something to make that friend feel uncomfortable. So I'd rather just like cut it right there. Like, if anything's happening, I'm like, okay, like, I'll be the one to like take the rat, or I'll be the one to dip, or this, or like, I always try to make the other person comfortable, you know what I mean? So I was like, I think I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna text my mom. So I was texting my mom. I was like, hey, like, can you come get me like right now? She's like, I'm over here because you said to pick up here this time. I was like, can you just come get me right now? Like, can you just come get me right now? Like, these are just weird. It's too much on me and it's weird. My grandma lived pretty close to Hubba, so I was like, hey, is it okay if I just like walk over there? And my mom was like, no one's home. And I'm like, okay, but I like don't want to be here right now, because like I start my period, like some weird shit, right? So I was like, hey, fine, I'll see you over there, whatever, text me when you get there. So I'm like, okay, bye, I'm gonna leave. And like Jamie didn't even get up and been like, oh yeah, bye, whatever. He was just like, bye. And then Michael was like, hey, come here, girl, like, come give me a hug. Like, you gonna say bye like that? Like, I was like, nah, it's okay, bye, like, you know, like, whatever. So I was like, weird. So then I hugged Hubba and I'm like, hey girl, like, I'm gonna leave, like, my mom needs me home, blah 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 blah. So as I'm walking home, quickness, I get a message and it's from Jamie. I was like, hey, sorry for acting weird, like, I was just noticing like my brother's like looking at you a lot, so like I didn't want things to get uncomfortable, and I like low-key was getting jealous, whatever. And I was like, oh no, it's okay, like, you caught that too, like, just know that I don't like your brother like that, like, I like you. And we were just like, you know, just talking. So I was like, oh, like, maybe that's why. So this went on, us talking for like months, okay? And I mean like months. So I would talk to Hubba about him like all the time, like this and this, and like, look, he sent me a cute selfie, and he would like send me selfies and stuff. And I didn't have like, I wasn't really like on MySpace at the time. I wasn't really like tech savvy with it. Like, I really wasn't. I didn't even know how to do like the cool backgrounds until like I stayed on the computer for like hours, and then I finally learned how to. Anyways, so I would get like pictures and stuff, and I was like, oh, like, that's really like, you know, that's really nice. It was just like really weird, because I felt like it was just too weird. I don't know, I just knew something was up. I was like, something is just off. Because like, have you ever felt like you told someone like the story like 2 times? Like, it just feels like like, oh, like, have I already said this? Kind of like deja vu, but it's like stronger than that. You're like, something just feels kind of weird. Like, it's just a little bit like too much. And I didn't really get to see Jamie a lot after those 2, 3, maybe like 3, 4 encounters, because it was just like, I would stop by her house, like, oh yeah, like, oh hey, hi, and it was like, oh sorry, I didn't go up and hug you or say this or this. Or I get like really nervous and get really shy, and oh sorry, this because like Hubba's mom was right there, and like she's gonna tell my mom everything. It was just like things like that, you know. So I was like, oh, like, yeah, it's fine, like I got a crazy mom too, like it's cool, whatever. I just started feeling like it was just weird. So one day something happened, and I was talking to Jamie about it, and I was like, yeah, like my mom, like she's crazy, she's like going through one of her manic episodes again, and I'm just like so over it, like I just want to run away. And I was like just talking to him about it, and then it was like the weekend or something, or I didn't go to school for some reason, and then I met up with Hubba, and me and her were talking, and she kind of like just like, she already knew what I was going to say, or like what I was going through, where I was like, hey girl, like sorry I hadn't replied because, oh no, I understand, like your mom and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, did I already tell you? Or and sometimes she'd be like, yeah, you already told me, and sometimes she'd be like, oh no, like Michael and Jamie were over. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. Me and her, we started not being as close. I don't know why. Sometimes that just happens with friendships. And I started getting closer to Jamie, like texting and stuff. And my mom was going through it, so I didn't really go to school all the time. So I was just constantly just talking to Jamie. And then it got to like, it wasn't just like cute like banter. It was like being locochina, you know what I mean? And then he started asking for like pictures and stuff, and I was like, oh, like no, like I'm like really like shy, like I don't even got nothing. He was like, oh baby, you got plenty, blah 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 blah. And I was like, no, like I really don't. And then we just like be talking all stupid, and he would talk like the nastiest to me ever. And I was like, oh my god, I gotta go restroom. Like it was just like super crazy, you know? And then sometimes like I'd be like, oh, can you talk on my phone? Like, oh no, I can't because of this, or no, I can't, like I'm not supposed to have my phone right now, blah 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 blah. And then sometimes I would call private, like hello, just to hear his voice. He'd be like, hello, like, you know? And it was just like, it was just weird because like we never like really talked on the phone. And then at the same time I was like, that's okay, because my stepdad's Mexican, and he'd be like, why the fuck you talking boys? And it was just like, it kind of just like all worked out, right? But anyways, I feel like I had like a full-on relationship with this person. Holidays were coming up. We'd be like, oh, happy Thanksgiving. I'm like so grateful and thankful for you. We like really talk. We exchanged pictures. I never sent anything at all, but I would receive things, and they were like, oh, like dang, like we just talk and stuff, and it was just like really, oh my gosh. And then sometimes I would like catch up with Hubble, and I'd like talk to her and be like, oh yeah, like, you know, like this and that, like, we're doing this, like, oh my god, you guys are still talking to each other. Me and Michael aren't talking to each other anymore, like he's so stupid, he's so lame. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then she was like, hey, like you want to go meet me this weekend? I'm gonna go to my cousin's house, we're gonna stay at these apartments over here, they have a pool. I was like, oh yeah, like heck yeah, like, oh, that's the most important part. Okay, let me go back. So Jamie and Michael lived in this city. We'll call it we'll call it Logan. Okay, they lived in Logan. And so I was like, oh, like you're so far. And that was another reason why we could never hang out or we couldn't do anything, because Logan lived like 2 hours away. And I was like, oh no, like I understand, like it's cool, blah 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 blah. So Hubble was like, let's go. So then now fast forward, Hubble was like, hey, you want to go with me to my cousin's house, like the apartments, whatever. I was like, well, yeah, like cool, like I'll tell my mom. So like my mom, I was like telling her like I'm gonna go over here. She's like, okay, cool, whatever. So I go with Hubble. We're going to these apartments, and we're having a good time, hanging out, cool, whatever. She's like asking me like, how are things? I'm like, oh, things are going good, this and that. Like he's so sweet, he's always like checking up on me, this and this and this. And she was like, oh, like that's so nice, blah 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 blah. I was telling her like the pictures that we're receiving. She's like, and you're not saying anything back? Wow, you're so lame. Like I wish you wouldn't be so scared, like give him a little something, like he's gonna lose interest, blah 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 blah. And I was like, yeah. And so talking to her, and then like we're leaving after we like got out of the pool and stuff, and I'm like, I looked at the apartment names, and the apartment names are Logan, and I was like, oh, that's so crazy. Like in my head I was like, that's so crazy, like that's so crazy, like like I didn't really think anything of it, like I really didn't. So I go home, talking to D. I was like, oh, I was with Hubble, and he was like, oh, like how is she? Like I haven't talked to her in the longest, but she was like low key annoying sometimes. She was like always talking bad about you, this and this. I was like, really? He was like, yeah, like she would tell me this, and he was like telling me some like real things where I was like, oh my god, like maybe I was being annoying that day, or maybe just like, oh my god, I remember that day, like we did fight that day. So he was like putting stuff in my head, and I was like, oh my god. It kind of felt like he was like kind of like setting me up to like, yeah, like how you feel about that, like you got nothing to say, so you're just gonna like, she's over here saying like all this stuff about you, like to me, to like Michael, like all the homies and stuff, like you don't care. And I'm just like, well, like I don't know, like I really like her, like that's my best friend, like maybe she's just in a mood, like just like defending her, you know. And then Jamie would be like, no, like she's just like grimy, she just seems like, you know, like this. Hubble did have this like scent about her. I don't know what it was, because like I had stress sweat too, but this certain scent, okay? And it was just like, it was just like musty. And so he brought it up. He was just like, she always smells like musk, you know. And I was like laughing out loud, like damn, like that's so true. She does have that scent sometimes. Like I be sweating too. Like I would talk like, oh yeah, but like me too, you know. So I write her and I'm like, hey, like me and Jamie were talking, and he was telling me like, yes, had a little falling out, da 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 da, and he said this and said this, and she was like, well, I don't know why he's even talking all this smack. So she was making it seem like it was like a real, like it felt so real, like it felt so real. So then I'm like telling her and stuff like, oh, like that, like it kind of makes me like, you know, look at him different, because like he wasn't like talking like that before, and I don't know what switched up. Like I went and hung out with you, and I don't know why, like he's saying all these mean things about you. And y'all shouldn't even be talking anyways, because like nothing's ever gonna happen. And I was just like, oh, okay, like okay, whatever. I was talking to him, and I don't know what it was. It's like I was talking to Hubble, and I had asked her like, you think I can borrow, what was it? So she had like the straightener that I wanted to use, because like back then, like my hair was super thick, like no one wanted to straighten it. And so I was like, I want to straighten it because I want to take a fire-ass selfie and I want to send it. So I was like, hey, do you think I can borrow like that pink straightener you have, because the other one that you have, the black one, doesn't work as good. And I was talking to her at the same time I was talking to him, okay? And I don't know why, like I was talking to them at the exact same time, and I was telling her like, yeah, like I want the pink one, not the black one. And I was talking to Jamie, and I was like, hey, like me and my cousin, we're gonna be out there in Logan, maybe we can go like go see a movie or something, catch up, and blah blah blah. He was like, oh yeah, like that'd be perfect, oh my god, like we can go see this movie, blah blah blah, like setting up his plans. And at the same time I'm texting Hubble, and I'm like, yeah, can I really get that like pink one? And then I get a message from Jamie like, yeah, you can get the pink one, the black one like doesn't work anymore. And I was like, wait, what? And I was like, maybe my phone is like glitching or something, like maybe my phone is messing up. So then Hubble starts messaging me like, yeah, babe, can't wait to hang out, can't wait to see you. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, what's going on? Like, what's going on? Like, this is so weird. This is so weird. So I call my cousin and I'm like, hey, like, does your phone ever mess up? Like, does it ever mess up at all? And I'm like explaining the situation. She's like, Alexis, can you like please not be a pendeja? Like, you know what it is. And I'm like what is what? And then she's like one, they're either like together and like she's just messaging you, or two, it's been her the whole time. And I'm like, no, like it's no, like no, like it can't be. No, like it can't be. Because I'm like, at this point I've been talking to this person for like months. And then my cousin is like, you know what, let's go to the library and let's go on MySpace and we'll find him. So I'm like, okay. And so then I'm texting Hubble and I'm like, yeah, that one, thanks, can't wait. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, thanks, can you bring it to school? Texting her like normal, because I'm like, I don't want to go crazy, like maybe my phone, because I would always take so many selfies, and it gets to the point where like my phone, I wouldn't even let it charge, and it would just like blow up. I would have to get a new one, and I was just like really bad with my phone. So I was like, it has to be like maybe like a disconnection, because I had Cricket, and then back in the day, my Cricket phone was stupid. Like it was so dumb. Like sometimes it'd be like, oh, it's 20% charge, and then I'd be texting, and then boom, out of nowhere, it'd just go black. So I was like, hey, like maybe I did something to my phone, and I just text Jamie too much, and then I made it go stupid. Like I was just like, okay, so I kept talking to them like nothing, okay, like nothing happened, whatever. I just act so stupid. And then I noticed like Jamie's being a little bit more like a little girl, like, you know, just like being like extra, like just saying like some like really like, oh, that's so cute, to the point like you're just rereading it, whatever, okay? So then the next day, me and the cousin, we go to the library. And we signed into our MySpace, and she's like, okay, what's his name? And then we're like looking him up and everything. And then I noticed like all the pictures that are on his MySpace are the ones like I was getting. And I was like, oh, and I didn't even think anything of it. I'm like, maybe he like sent it to me before he like posted it. And then Jamie would ask me too, like if I would go on MySpace and stuff, and I'd be like, oh no, like I don't got a computer, and then I have to go to the library, and then like my mom hardly lets me go to the library, so like Jamie knew everything. So I was like, oh. And then I noticed like Jamie's posting a picture with his girl, and it's like back in the day people used to be like, this is my pic, can I own this pic? And this girl kept saying it, and I was like what? Like what? So I was like, okay. So I logged into my MySpace, and I'm like trying to find him, and I can't find him on my account. So I'm like, okay, so I'm just stuck on my cousins, and we're just like looking at both of us, and we have like the headphones in because like you feel like you just can listen more. So I have the headphones in, we're just like watching it, looking at his profile, and I'm just like, what? And he's like saying like for example, we're talking, he's like, oh, gotta go to basketball practice, I can't text you, whatever, I'm gonna be busy. And then Jamie's over here doing something completely different that day, and I'm like, huh? Like it was just so. And then it tells you like this person lives here, right? So I looked at his thing, and it doesn't say he lives in Logan, and I'm like, huh? So my cousin messages him, and she's like, hey, my cousin's phone died, it doesn't work anymore, message her on here, she misses you, she loves you, kissy face, kissy face, kissy face. And so we're like waiting because I just wanted to see what was going on, just wanted to see. And he replies, who the fuck's your cousin? And Jamie knew about my cousin because I talked to him about her all the time. And then so she looks at me, and then she's like are you weird? Like, did you like make this all up? And I'm like, no. And I'm like showing her on my phone, like me talking to this person, to this person, to this person, to this person. And when he would write, he would like instead of like stupid stuff. So like when he would write it, he put I-I-T. Like it was like double I, and they had a certain way of like writing things, you know? And then I noticed like on his MySpace page, he was writing it correctly, and I was just like, huh? So he's like, who the fuck's your cousin, whatever? And she was like, so-and-so. He's like, who's that? And that was just like, what? It's like behind, what? So I felt so stupid. So then she starts talking to him, and she was like, yeah, like you guys met at Hubble's house, blah blah blah. And he was like, oh, like her, like no, like what, like what are you talking about? And he's like, y'all are tripping, like I got a girlfriend, she goes to my messages, like you guys been like, you know, like make her like blah 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 blah. And I was like, wait, what? Like it was just like I could hear her talking, I could hear her reading messages, like I just felt like my head was spinning, and I was just like, what? Like this is so what? Like this is so freaking crazy. Like I was like, there's no freaking way, like there's just no way at all. And so she was like trying to explain to him like, no one's trying to make your girlfriend mad or anything like that. Like my cousin thought you were a girlfriend. And he was like, yo, like she mad weird, like no, like it's not even like that. And I just felt so stupid, so dumb. And I was like, And then he was like, this is my number, you'll call me real quick. And so I was like, wait, what? Because Jamie can't talk on the phone because like he's like always in trouble, you know? So I was just like, oh, and it wasn't the number I had, and I was like, wait, what? Like that's what? So then me and my cousin call the phone, we're talking to him, I'm explaining to him like what's going on, and he's like, what? That's crazy. I'll be at the library, and like you gotta show me this in person, because this is crazy. Like I know Hubble, like she ain't that kind of crazy, like blah 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 blah. And I was like, well yeah, like I'm not saying it's her, but like yeah. So he lived super close, where like he got to the library very quick. So he comes to the library and he sees me, and like I had feelings towards this person, so it was like so freaking hard to see him just be like, like you're weird, like what are you doing, you know? And so I was like explaining to him, showing him my phone. I was like just showing him, and he's like, I don't even talk like that, like who says this is corny ass shit and you believe this? And I was like, yeah, like yeah, like that. Yeah. So then he was like let me just do this real quick. He's like, I called the number. I was like, yeah, but like you can never. I kept like tripping up, like you can never. He's like, no, not me. I was like, well, this person I was talking to can never talk on the phone because they're always in trouble. And it was just so embarrassing because he was like such an asshole. Like he was such an asshole. And so he was like, let me see, because like I have all the numbers in here, like I know everybody, blah blah blah. So he puts the number in, and like it shows like right away like you know how like if you put your mom's number, you start dialing it on your phone, and then right away, like if it has that contact saved, it will call it. So he does that, and it's Hubble's brother's phone. And so he's like, hello, answers it. They start chopping it up, talking. And he's like, hey, did you let Hubble use your phone? Blah, blah, blah. Because girl over here was thinking that she was in a relationship with me. And it was like so embarrassing because he was talking so loud. And I just felt so dumb. Like super, super dumb. And it was like my heart was breaking. Like I was having to break up by myself. You know what I mean? I just felt so stupid. And then he was like, oh yeah. He was like, yeah, like Hubble uses my phone sometimes because she was talking to her boyfriend. You know how my mom be tripping sometimes, going through her phone. So I was the fucking boyfriend. So he starts laughing. He was like, yo, this is so funny. You won't believe this. I think your sister's a lesbian. And I was like, oh, hell no. Like, not that there's anything wrong with lesbians. Nothing wrong. But like, how he was just making a joke. And I felt so stupid. And so Hubble's brother was like, what? Like, oh my God, like that's so funny. Like when I see her, I'm gonna talk to her about it. Like, what? And then they're like both laughing, whatever. And then he was like, telling her like who's boyfriend. And he was like, Alexis. And he was like, what? Word? And I was just like, word what? Word what? Because I was just so hurt. My cousin's trying so hard not to laugh. And I'm just like, dude, like I feel so freaking embarrassed. Like, shut the fuck up. Like I just feel so stupid because I always felt like the ugly duckling, and it was just like, damn, like I just like for months, you guys, when I say months, I mean months. Like this dude was sending me nudes. This dude was sending me selfies. This dude was checking up on me. Good morning, good night, good afternoon, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, da da da. Hope things go better with your mom. Like constant. And like long ass, I was like, oh, you're so beautiful, your brown eyes, because you guys know like I don't like my eye color. So it was just like I was humiliated. I felt so stupid. So the next day at school, I go to school. Hubble doesn't even look my way. Hubble right away starts chismeando with like all the other friends and was like, oh, like pointing at me like, oh, like I'm fucking crazy, this and this and this. Like, can you believe this? Can you believe that? And so we finally have a class together, and I'm just like mean dogging her because I'm like, how the fuck could you, bitch? Like, how the fuck could you do that to me? So then right away, like secrets that I would tell her or like my insecurities right away, like we're starting to like rumor around the school. Like I felt like, okay, I went through a pretend breakup, and then now like me and my best friend are not best friends anymore, and then everyone knows like my secrets, my deepest, darkest secrets. And it was like, it was humiliating. It was freaking humiliating. And then to top it off, I'm wearing some really white blue jean pants, okay? And I start my period. And guess who has a freaking blood stain on their ass the whole freaking period? Because I told the teacher like, hey, I gotta go. He's like, you're not going anywhere. You're always leaving the class. You always think you can do this. I'm tired of it. I always take excuses out. I'm like, I can't be like, I got an ass stain, a bloody ass stain on my ass, so I gotta get up. Nope, I felt, and I didn't have no hoodie, and I had no jacket, no nothing, so I felt like, oh my gosh. And so the bell rang, I couldn't even move. I'm like, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do this? So I got up, there's blood on the chair. I go and tell the teacher. He's pissed off on me. He starts talking loud. People are like, ew, that's so gross, ew. And I'm like, oh my God. So I got my books, and I'm like running, holding the freaking book to my ass cheeks, and I'm just like so humiliated, okay? And this freaking bitch of a best friend that I had is freaking laughing and just like, oh my God, that's so nasty, blah, blah, blah. So I don't go to school for a couple of days because I am freaking humiliated. I'm like, oh my God, like this, like it can't get any worse. I just feel like, holy shit, like it can't get any worse. So Hubble decides to message me. She's like, hey, we need to talk. Like, it's not what it seems. Blah, 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 blah. And this whole time I'm going through this, you guys have no idea how bad I wanted to text Jamie and be like, I had such a bad day at school. Like, it was just so, like, when people catfish each other, it's a whole different, y'all are fucked up. Me and her meet at the library, and we're, like, talking. She's like, oh, I'm sorry, but, like, I just need you to know, like, it's kind of your fault, too, because of the whole Michael situation, like how he smiled at me, she like didn't trust me and stuff, and I guess it was him that was complimenting me after I left, not Jamie. And so she felt some way, and she was just like you're so pretty, and I always feel like I'm the ugly one. And I'm like, no, I feel like the ugly one, like, you know. So we're like trying to like kind of like, I'm trying to forgive her, but at the same time I'm like, dude, like for months. And she's like, I'm just so sorry. And like part of me was kind of like invested in it, like I just got used to it. It was like a routine messaging you, and I was just telling you the things like I wanted to hear, to have someone tell me. And I was just like how could you? And I was like telling her like, how can you like start like with these rumors too? She's like, I didn't start those, like I wouldn't do that to you. And me all stupid like, yeah, you're right. But this fucking bitch fucking was catfishing me for like months. So she was like telling me and stuff like, yeah, and like my brother was like laughing at me, my brother to my mom, and my mom was like pissed, like, what the fuck is wrong with you, like who does that? And she was like calling her crazy and told her to get her head out of her ass and stuff, that like that is like not okay. It was just a lot. It was just a freaking lot. And I was just asking her like so many questions. I'm like, do you like feel some way towards me? Like, do you like me or something? She's like, oh no, like I can never see you that way. And I was like, dude, but it's like sometimes like you like, I was like, and then how are you sending me like dick pics and stuff? And then she was just like, oh, like I already like had those and stuff. And I didn't want to go into like, how the fuck did you have those? And so it was just so weird. So we talked for like a good like 1, 2, 3 hours, and it felt like forever, but we talked for like a long time. And I was just like I should have known, because the apartments they took me to, those were Logan. And she starts laughing, you guys. She starts laughing in my face, like, yeah, you're so stupid, you should have known, like, oh my god, like you're so dumb. And then I kept telling you like I can't talk to you because I'm in trouble. She's like, I'm always in trouble. And she's like laughing, she's like, you're so stupid. Like she was so like, if I could go back in time, like how I feel now, I would have whooped her ass. I would have whooped her ass, because the way she made me feel so stupid. And I was trying so hard not to cry, but at the same time, I didn't want to lose our friendship. I was just like, yeah, like I'm so stupid. Like I can't believe that. Like, yeah, like you're right. And so she was like, so like we good? Like, are we good? And I'm like, yeah, like we're good. And so the next couple of days at school, we're not the same. We're not really talking the same. People started noticing. They're like, oh, what happened? And then I'm like, oh, like we just don't talk anymore. She wants to start the rumor and say that like, oh yeah, like she like tried to flirt with my boyfriend. I caught her and I told her what was up. And I was just like, no, that's like not true. She catfished me. And then people weren't like they were just like, what? She what? Like that's so weird. It's more believable that like someone tried to like take your boyfriend than like someone tried to catfish you. Like it was just more believable that way, you know? So we didn't talk at all. Then years later, and I mean years, I already had my kids, right? Years later, we meet up. We're like, hey, like I wonder like why we stopped talking, blah 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 blah. I'm like, I know, like it was some stupid shit, whatever. So we're like hanging out, cool, whatever. She got with Jamie. Okay, she got with Jamie. She wasn't in the happiest relationship. Me and her talking, and it was just so weird. Like, have you ever tried to like link back up with somebody and you guys try to reminisce and try to talk? It was just so weird. It was just like too forced. It was just, I don't know, it was just weird. And she still was like the catty bitch that she always was. And she like thought it was funny, like what had happened. And even though like it was like petty ass shit, it was just still like, she was just still a bitch. She was just still a bitch. And then at that time already, I was a bitch too, because I was like, what? Like, I'm like, how the fuck is that funny? So like, we were kind of like getting bitchy towards each other, and we said some words. We kind of did the whole like, like you hit me first, no, you hit me first, like getting in each other's face and stuff, like freaking like all up on each other, like just like yelling at each other. No one threw the hit, because I feel like we both, I don't know, I don't even want to say respect, because I do not respect this person, and I know that person does not respect me, but we didn't want to lay hands on each other. Like it was so weird. Like at that point I already had like fought like a lot of people, but when it came to her, like we could just not, like I don't know what it was. Like even when we were younger and like our friends would play around and they would slap each other, like that was a stupid trend back in the day too, where people would just slap the shit at each other until like one like taps out, or like where like they like hit you with their ass and like throw you against the locker with their ass and stuff, but we could never play like that with each other because I think we kind of both knew that we wouldn't know like when to end it, you know what I mean? So we had that little stupid altercation and stuff, and it was literally like dumb, like pushing each other hard with like our shoulders and our chests and stuff, and like calling each other out each other's names, talking about each other's moms, because like her mom was a crackhead and my mom was a crackhead at the time, and it was just like we just said like the nastiest shit to each other. And I was just like, damn, like, dude, like, you have not changed. Like, you have literally, like, not changed. Like, you are a fucking loser. Like, you really, really are. Because, like, the whole time she was, like, talking, we're like, oh, yeah, like, oh, this is my baby. This, and we're, like, talking about each other's babies and stuff because she has babies, too. And she was, like, so happy. She was like, yeah, isn't it funny? Like, I got Jamie. And, like, you thought you were talking to him the whole time. But, like, look who got him. Like, I got him. And, like, you really thought. Like, you really thought. And I'm like, but does he make you happy, though? Or is he, like, fucking with so-and-so, he already over here, he's been over there, and that, like, isn't that funny though? So it was like that kind of relationship. It was just fucking weird. We were both petty and we talked our mess. And then when I started watching the show Catfish, I was like, oh my god, like that would have been so weird if I was older and I got to go on the Catfish show, because it would have been like, and you did this for what? Like, for what? Like, that stupid line, we're like, and for what? And for what? That would have been me. Because she literally had no reason. Like, she literally was just, she was just a fucking bitch. And, like, all my secrets went out. It was so freaking embarrassing. Like, my mom wouldn't let me wear thongs when I was in junior high, because I had no reason to be wearing thongs. So, I would literally give myself a wedgie so it would look like I was wearing thongs, because we used to get pantsed. And I was like, I don't want to be pantsed and have granny panties. And so, she would literally tell everyone that, like, I couldn't wear thongs. And that was so stupid. Like, when I hear myself say it, I'm like, that sounds so stupid, Alexis. Like, that sounds so stupid. So I get made fun of and they call me granny panties. Wait, no, I'm not wearing granny panties. And I had my freaking underwear like bunched up and I would pull it like if I was wearing a tanga, you know? That is my story of how I got catfished. And it was embarrassing because, like, when we would go to like group parties or like events and stuff, and like Jamie or like Michael or like any close friends were there, they would like talk about like how, like, oh yeah, she thought she talking to me, like, yeah, like for months, man, for months, like, how pathetic, huh? Like, just, I just felt so stupid, like, so stupid. Like, I was that girl that like wanted attention so bad that like I had a PayPal, and the PayPal was my best friend. Like, it was just so stupid. I don't know, I feel so stupid even saying it now because it's just like so dumb. Like, it's just so dumb. Like who raised you? Who? Like, you're so stupid. FTP. I don't know. Lessons learned. Lessons learned for sure. Don't be so gullible. Don't be so stupid. Yeah. But that wasn't the only time I got catfished. I still didn't learn. I still didn't learn. I did not learn. I did not learn. And you know what? After getting catfish, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, what is wrong with me? Like, what is wrong with me? That, like, people want to catfish me. Like, what? Like, I love my friends. I love my family. What is wrong with me? Because the other time I got catfished, it was my family member. And I'm just like, for what? Like, you did this for what? Like, I really feel like that when I say for what. Like, I literally feel that in my soul. For what? Like, you did this for what? Like, ugh. And I'm pretty sure me posting the story time, Jamie and her are gonna have a freaking, like, kick out of it. Like, she's gonna think it's so funny because she got to have a video. But fuck you, bitch. Y'all better watch these ads. Fuck you, bitch. Like, oh. It was embarrassing. Lesson learned. And it was really hard after a while because, like, it would get brought up. Like, oh, like, weren't you with, like, so-and-so? Or... And then for the longest, like, people would call me, like, a lesbian because, like, I was talking to her. And, like, I was cool with it. But what I didn't like is, like, how some lesbians would act towards me. Like, you could never, not with me, ugh. And I'd be like, bitch, what makes you think you'd be my type? Like, what makes you think that, like, I would, like, what the fuck? Like, if I was, what makes you think I want you? What the fuck? Don't insult me. Like, I was just, oh. And then they'd do, like, no. It's because you feel stupid. It's because you feel stupid. No. I'm just like, no, bitch. I don't. Like, I would not with you. Okay? Like, there's so many other not with you. And it was just, so I was just getting bullied because of the catfish thing, because everyone thought I was lesbian. because of the freaking secrets that she told everybody, and it was just like embarrassing. And then, oh, because I have stretch marks on my booty, and so that was a thing too. Everyone kept kind of calling me Tiger, and they kept going, rawr. That sounds so stupid now, but like when you're young, you're like, oh my god, like so insecure about it. So like assholes would literally come up to me and be like, rawr. And I'd be like I'd be so sad, like super sad, because I'd be like, or they'd be like, they're great, and it was just like, because they were like, it was just hell, you guys. So yeah, that's how I got catfish. I hope you guys enjoyed this long ass story time. If you guys enjoyed the story time, please give me a thumbs up if you guys enjoy story times. I would greatly appreciate it if you guys enjoyed. If you guys have ever been catfished, let me know down below. I would love to read your guys' stories. And yeah, let me know if you guys want more story times. I'll definitely do them for you guys. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you guys haven't already. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.